Now at 11, women's pro basketball officially back in Portland.
Seeing the passion that exists here for women's sports, it's inspirational.
We're going to have a recap of the Portland Fire season opener at Moda Center. Plus, Oregon leaders maintaining confidence in local elections despite efforts to restrict mail-in voting.
It's an awful lot better way to go than to have people waiting hours and hours on a work day.
And a cavalry of canines at Portland's waterfront park. Oregon Humane Society brings back its largest fundraiser. Well, it was a historic night at Moda Center as the Portland Fire made their official debut as a WNBA team. A sold-out crowd of nearly 20,000 made it the second largest crowd for a home opener in WNBA history. Let's get right over to Orlando Sanchez with all the highlights. Hey, Orlando, big night regardless of the results there at Moda.
What a special evening, John. It was a historic night in Portland sports, the return of the WNBA and the Fire's first game in nearly 24 years. Time to ignite the fire. Pre-game intros on point, welcoming the Chicago Sky to town. The Fire Pit sold out, more than 19,000 in the building, setting a WNBA attendance record for an expansion team season opener. And the franchise's first bucket, courtesy of Carla Late, leading the Fire with a team-high 18 points. Now, this is cold. Frida Booner putting the defender on skates. Head coach Alex Sarama went 11 deep on his roster, and the Portland bench put up 35 points. Sarah Ashley Barker had 13 of them. Despite trailing by as much as 17 in the first half, Portland got hot in the third, the three ball falling. The Fire stormed all the way back, tying the game at 70. Bridget Carlton with 13. But Portland was punished on the boards. The Sky with too much size. Chicago nearly had twice as many rebounds. Camila Cardoso leading the way with 22 and 14. Portland drops its season opener final count, 98-83. Well, the result didn't go as planned. It was a special night in the Rose City. Our Art Edwards has reaction from Moda Center.
Quite an opening act for the Portland Fire here at the Moda Center. They didn't get the win in the game, but the fans, they were in it from the very beginning. As the players said after the game, the Fire Pit was lit.
The crowd was so into it. It was so much fun. And we know they were excited about this game, about this season, and we felt that we've been feeling it since we got to training camp. And today was just a great experience, I think, for everybody, so we're really thankful for them.
The energy that they brought, they never gave up. They always continued to cheer. And so I think just leaning into that and having their support means a lot to us.
Head coach Alex Sarama talked about some of the things that the Fire are going to have to do in order to improve, but he likes the way they started out this season.
I think we saw glimpses tonight of what we have the potential to be. I think it's just a case of how we can get to that more consistently as a group, but really, really encouraged, especially by that run in the third.
Fire players said after the game that they want to be known as an annoying team, a team that no one wants to play. I feel like they're already beginning to build that reputation. They'll get another shot at it on Tuesday when they play the New York Liberty. Reporting from the Moda Center, Art Edwards, KGW Sports.
Now, I know a lot of Ducks fans really looking forward to the next two games against the Liberty, but Sabrina Ionescu has been ruled out due to an ankle injury. John, back to you.
Yeah, we hate to hear that about Sabrina, but exciting to watch the team tonight. All right, thanks so much. All right, let's turn to weather, where our dry streak is going to continue over the next couple of days. Along with that dry weather, we're also going to see some really warm, toasty weather for early May. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri has more on what we can expect to see for Mother's Day. Hey, Joe.
Hey there, John. Well, Mother's Day is going to be very comfortable. We're not going to be seeing very warm temperatures return back into the forecast until Monday, and then we'll feel more like summer heading into Tuesday. I'll talk about that in just about 10 minutes or so, but looking at what you're going to be running into this evening, we'll start to see those clouds kind of filter in here the next couple of hours. So expect to see mostly cloudy skies a good portion of your morning and into the afternoon hours on Mother's Day. But we stay dry. There could be some pockets of some little spit of some sprinkles and some drizzle. But as we go into about 2:30, 3 o'clock, we'll start to see those clouds break up a little bit. We'll be looking at basically partly sunny skies tomorrow. And with the cloud cover sticking around a little bit longer, our daytime highs will only be getting into the upper 60s to low 70s. Here's a live look now from the bricks from our Pioneer Park building camera. We're still looking at some pretty warm temperatures right now with a temperature of 66 degrees, and the day planner tomorrow looks like this, waking up to temperatures in the low 50s. Clouds stick around at least until the late morning hours, but by the afternoon, daytime highs right around 70 degrees. A picture perfect day for Mother's Day. I'll talk more about your full forecast and when we'll be seeing some big changes. That's about 10 minutes from now.
All right, Joe, thanks so much. We'll see you later in the show. An update today now on a homicide investigation from last fall. A man who was booked on an April robbery has been indicted by a grand jury for first-degree murder. Detectives have identified the suspect who killed Shiloh Thanos Young as 20-year-old Damari Baxter. Now, they believe Baxter shot Thanos Young last September in Northwest Portland, but police up to this point have not released any details about what led up to it. That case is still under investigation. Multiple first responders were called early this morning after a crash pinned both drivers in their cars. This was the area of Northwest Park and West Burnside just after 1 this morning. A total of 3 people were removed and taken to the hospital. At this point, everyone is expected to survive. Portland police expect one of the drivers to be charged with DUI and more once out of the hospital. Well, it was a busy morning for Clackamas firefighters who responded to 5 different calls in less than an hour, all in Sandy. Among them, 2 crashes just a minute apart, one of which needed a patient to be airlifted. While they were working those scenes, there were also medical calls like someone suffering from cardiac arrest and a child having an allergic reaction. The primary election is 10 days away, and Oregon officials are encouraging people to get out there and vote. Senator Ron Wyden and Secretary of State Tobias Reed critical of President Trump's executive order on voting, and they're reassuring people they can still vote by mail. Our Jay Coulter stopped by the Selwood Moreland Library today, where Senator Wyden was dropping off his ballot, and spoke to him about election integrity.
This is what democracy is all about.
Another vote cast ahead of Oregon primary election day, this time Senator Ron Wyden's.
This is safe. We have a backup in terms of the signatures, and people find it convenient. It's an awful lot better way to go than to have people waiting hours and hours on a work day just to be part of democracy.
Wyden praising mail-in voting and early voting after President Trump signed an executive order restricting vote-by-mail elections.
It's about voter integrity. We want to have honest voting in our country, because if you don't have honest voting, you can't have really a nation.
The order calls for Homeland Security to create a list of U.S. citizens in each state who are eligible to vote. It also aims to ban the U.S. Postal Service from sending ballots to people that don't fall on each state's approved list.
What is Donald Trump so frightened about when we vote by mail? After all, he does it when it's convenient for him.
Trump recently voted by mail in the Florida special election in March.
This is just about politics. It's not about election security. It's not about anything but a president who knows that he is unpopular and is looking for every way possible to avoid that accountability that is represented by election.
Oregon Secretary of State Tobias Reed on Straight Talk this week talking about vote by mail.
Fundamentally, my responsibility is to make sure that Oregonians who are eligible get to cast their vote and be confident that it is counted accurately.
Jay Coulter.
The primary election is May 19th. Washington State won a lawsuit against the Trump administration this week over the president's blanket 10% global tariffs. A federal court called the tariffs invalid and unauthorized by law. Out of the 24 states on the lawsuit, Washington was the only one that won, proving to the judge it was a direct importer. Our Seattle sister station talked to Attorney General Nick Brown yesterday, who explained what that means for people living in Washington.
We anticipate anywhere from about $600 to $1,000 per year is what families across the country were going to be paying because of the illegal tariffs. And so now that a court has invalidated those, they're no longer going to be faced with that burden because, as we know, when businesses impose tariffs, they pass those down to their consumers. And so we've prevented that from going forward, which is important in this moment where every dollar counts. And $800 to $1,000 a year is going to impact me and you and families across Washington State.
The state does say this ruling does open the door for others to challenge the tariffs. An Oregon nonprofit is making a big down payment in the hopes of offering more housing opportunities. On Friday, Oregon Community Foundation announced a $100 million Building Hope Fund. The goal is to provide loans to home builders across the state to finance 10,000 new housing units over the next 10 years. The nonprofit says right now, Oregon is building only half of what it needs to be building every year to solve the housing crisis. This fund focuses on what's known as middle-income housing.
Middle-income housing is housing for the people who work but neither qualify for publicly supported housing, nor can they afford to buy at the top of the market rate housing. These are our bartenders, our nurses, our teachers, our servers.
The $100 million is just a start. OCF hopes the Building Hope Fund will grow as they bring in other investors. Well, humans weren't the only ones soaking up the sunshine today. Thousands of pets and their owners gathered at Tom McCall Waterfront Park for the 39th annual Doggy Dash. It's Oregon Humane Society's biggest fundraiser of the year. Organizers say the event brings together people and pets from across the region to celebrate the bond between animals and their owners. Today's event featured walk and run options, along with food trucks, contests, live demonstrations, and dozens of pet-friendly activities. In total, there were nearly 3,000 people and about 1,000 dogs that gathered for the dash.
You know, Oregon Humane receives no government funds. We are fueled 100% by the community. So fundraisers like this really allow us to keep delivering this life-changing work that we do every single day. So we need the community to come together every year throughout all of our fundraising events, and especially Doggy Dash, where we find our joy all day.
If you missed today's event, another Doggy Dash is planned for June 6th at Riverfront Park in Salem.